The Moscow Metro is a rapid transit system serving Moscow, Russia and the neighboring Moscow Oblast. Opened in 1935, it was the first underground railway system in the Soviet Union. As of 2019, the Moscow Metro, excluding the Moscow Central Circle, Moscow Monorail and Moscow diameters, has 232 stations and its route length is 397.3 kilometers, making it the fifth longest in the world. Including them, it has a route length of 584.4 kilometers and 323 stations, third longest in the world. The system is mostly underground, with the deepest section 84 meters underground at the Park Pobyedy station, one of the world's deepest underground stations. It is the busiest metro system in Europe and is considered a tourist attraction in itself. The majority of rail lines are running radially from the center of Moscow to the outlying areas. The Kaltsevaya line, line 5, forms a 20-kilometer long circle which enables passenger travel between these diameters, and the new Moscow Central Circle, line 14, forms a 54-kilometer long circle that serves a similar purpose on middle periphery. Most stations and lines are underground, but some lines have a grade and elevated sections. The Filovskaya line, Butovskaya line and the Central Circle line are the three lines that are at grade or mostly at grade. The Moscow Metro uses the Russian gauge of 1520 mm like other Russian railways, and an undergrounding third rail except line 13 and 14. The average distance between stations is 1.7 kilometers. The Moscow Metro opens at 5:25 and closes at 1 o'clock. The minimum interval between trains is 90 seconds during the morning and evening rush hours. Free Wi-Fi has been available on all lines of the Moscow Metro since 1st of December 2014. Of the Metro's 232 stations, 88 are deep underground, 123 are shallow, 12 are surface level and 5 are elevated. The stations being constructed under Stalin's regime in the style of socialist classicism. Stations such as Komsomolskaya, Kievskaya or Mayakovskaya and others built after 1935 are tourist landmarks. Their photogenic architecture, large chandeliers and detailed decoration unusual for an urban transport system. Each line is identified by a name, an alphanumeric index and a color. The metro has a connection to the Moscow Monorail. Also, until October 26, 2019, the Moscow Metro included Kakhovskaya line, 3.3 km long with 3 stations, which closed for a long reconstruction. A reopening is planned as part of the Bolshaya Kaltsevaya line. Since the beginning, platforms have been at least 155 meters long to accommodate 8-car trains. The only exceptions are on the Filovskaya line, Vystavachная Международная, Studentskaya, Kutuzovskaya, Fili, Bagrationovskaya, Filovsky Park and Pionierskaya, which only allow 6-car trains. Trains on the Zamoskvoretskaya, Kalusko-Rижskaya, Tagansko-Krasnoprenskyskaya, Kalininskaya, Serpuchovsko, Timir-Yazavskaya and Lublinsko-Dmitrovskaya lines have 8 cars, on the Sokolnicheskaya line 7 cars, on the Kaltsevaya and Kakhovskaya line 6 cars. The Filovskaya and Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya lines now use 4 and 5-car trains of another type. The V-type trains were formerly from Berlin U-Bahn C-class trains. They were transported from the Berlin U-Bahn. A-type and B-type trains were custom-made since the opening. Currently the metro only operates 81 style trains. Rolling stock on the Kaltsevaya line is being replaced with articulated 81 740 741 Russich 4-car trains. The Butovskaya line was designed by different standards and has shorter 96-meter long platforms. It employs articulated 81 740 741 trains, which consist of 3 cars. On the Moscow Central Circle, Lastachka trains are used, consisting of 5 cars. The initial line connected Sokolniki to Okhotny Ryad, then branching to Park Kultury and Smolenskaya. The latter branch was extended westwards to a new station, Kievskaya, in March 1937, the first metro line crossing the Moskva River over the Smolensky Metro Bridge. The second stage was completed before the war. In March 1938, the Arbatskaya branch was split and extended to the Kurskaya station. In September 1938, the Garkovskaya line opened between Sokol and Teatralnaya. Here the architecture was based on that of the most popular stations in existence, Krasnye Vorota, Okhotny Ryad and Kropotkinskaya. While following the popular Art Deco style, it was merged with socialist themes. The first deep-level Kolun station, Mayakovskaya, was built at the same time. During the siege of Moscow in the fall and winter of 1941, metro stations were used as air raid shelters. During the air raids in the subway, 270 children were born. After the war ended in 1945, construction began on the fourth stage of the metro, which including the Koltsevaya line, a D part of the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line from Ploshchad Revoluции to Kievskaya, and a surface extension to Pervomayskaya during the early 1950s. The decoration and design characteristic of the Moscow metro is considered to have reached its zenith in these stations. In 1954, the Ring Line was completed. The beginning of the Cold War led to the construction of a deep section of the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line. The stations on this line were planned as shelters in the event of nuclear war. During the late 1950s, the architectural extravagance of a new metro stations was toned down, and decorations at some stations such as Vidyanha and Alexeyevskaya were simplified by comparison with the original plans. This was done on the orders of President Nikita Khrushchev, who favored more Spartan decoration. All new stations were built to look almost identical, differing from each other only in colors of the marble and ceramic tiles. Most stations were built with simple, less costly technology. This was not always appropriate and resulted in utilitarian design. With their reflective marble walls, high ceilings and grand chandeliers, many Moscow metro stations have been linked to an artificial underground sun. The artwork of the many stations became nationally and internationally famous. The metro was iconic also because it showcased socialist realism in public art. A proposal to convert the little ring of the Moscow railway into a metropolitan railway with frequent passenger service was announced in 2012. New track was laid and stations were built between 2014 and 2016. The Moscow Central Circle line, line 14, opened to passengers in September 2016, relieving congestion on the Koltsevaya line. Line 14 is operated by Russia Railways. Free transfers are permitted between the MCC and the Moscow Metro if the trip before the transfer is less than 90 minutes. In February 2020, one ride costs 55 rubles, approximately 90 cents. Discounts up to 33% are available when buying a multiple trip ticket, starting with 20 trip cards. And children under age 7 can travel free with their parents. Tickets are available for a fixed number of trips, regardless of distance traveled or number of transfers. Monthly and yearly passes are also available. Fare enforcement takes place at the points of entry. Once a passenger has entered the metro system, there are no further ticket checks. One can ride to any number of stations and make transfers within the system freely. Transfers to other public transport systems are not covered by the ticket. Transfer to Monorail is free within 90 minutes. On 1st of September 1998, the Moscow Metro became the first metro system in Europe to fully implement contactless smart cards known as transport cards. In August 2004, the city government launched the Muscovites Social Card program. Social cards are free smart cards issued for the elderly and other groups of citizens officially registered as residents of Moscow or the Moscow region. Social cards can be used for unlimited free access to the city's public transport system, including the Moscow Metro. In 2013, as a way to promote both the Olympic Games in Sochi and active lifestyles, Moscow Metro installed a vending machine that gives commuters a free ticket in exchange for doing 30 squats. From the first quarter of 2015, ticket windows at stations started to accept bank cards for fare payment. Passengers were also able to start using contactless payment systems, such as PayPass technology on MasterCard and Maestro Visa PayWave on Visa cards at fare gates to enter the system. The Moscow Metro is undergoing a major expansion. Current plans call for almost 150 kilometers of new lines to be opened between 2012 and 2022. In addition to major metro expansion, the Moscow government and Russian Railways plans to upgrade more commuter railways to a metro-style service similar to MCC. New tracks and stations are planned to be built in order to achieve this. Cordon lines and second large ring are planned to be constructed. Average speed of the train is technical. In 2005 it was 48.85 km per hour. Total number of lines is 16. Annual ridership in 2018 was 2,560.4 million of passengers. Daily ridership in 2018 was 6.67 million of passengers. Daily ridership for all 16 lines, including Monorail Moscow Central Circle and diameter 1 and 2 is around 7.7 million of passengers. Annual ridership for whole 16 lines is around 2,800 million of passengers, and it is the 5th busiest in the world. Notable incidents. On 8th of August 2000, a strong blast in a metro underpass Pushkinskaya metro station in the center of Moscow claimed the lives of 12 with 150 injured. On 6th of February 2004, an explosion wrecked the train between the Avtozavodskaya and Paveletskaya stations on the Zamoskvoretskaya line, killing 41 and wounding over 100. A later investigation concluded that a Karachay-Cherkesyan resident and Islamic militant had carried out a suicide bombing. On 29th of March 2010, 2 bombs exploded on the Sokolnicheskaya line, killing 40 and injuring 102 others. The first bomb went off the Lubyanka station on the Sokolnicheskaya line at 7:56 during the morning rush hour. At least 26 were killed in the first explosion, of which 14 were in the rail car where it took place. A second explosion occurred at the Parkolchori station at 8:38, roughly 40 minutes after the first one. 14 people were killed in that blast. The Caucasus Emirate later claimed responsibility for the bombings. On 15th of July 2014, a train derailed between Park Pobyedy and Slavyansky Boulevard on the Arbatsko-Pokrovskaya line, killing 24 people and injuring dozens more. 48 stations are recognized as objects of cultural heritage and more than 40 are architectural monuments. On October 15, 1941, L.M. Gagarin, one of the main associates of Joseph Stalin, gave an order to close the Moscow metro within 3 hours to prepare proposals for its destruction as a strategically important object. The metro was supposed to be destroyed and the remaining cars and equipment removed. On the morning of October 16, 1941, on the day of the panic in Moscow, the metro was not open for the first time. It was the only day in the history of the Moscow metro when it did not work. By evening, the order to destroy the metro was cancelled. Moscow Monorail is long 4.7 kilometers, 6 stations, with daily ridership of 8,220 of passengers and annually ridership of 3 million of passengers in 2016. Moscow Central Circle is 54 km long, 31 stations, daily ridership of 580,000 of passengers in 2019 and annual ridership of 122 million of passengers in 2018. D1 diameter has 52 kilometers of length and 31 stations. D2 diameter has 80 kilometers of length and 34 stations. The Moscow Central Circle, or MCC, designated Line 14 or just encircle line and marked in a strawberry red-white color, is a 54 km long orbital urban metropolitan rail line that encircles historical Moscow. The line is rebuilt from the little ring of the Moscow Railway and opened to passengers on 10th of December 2016. By the end of 2016, the daily ridership on the Central Circle line was expected to reach 400,000 passengers, and by 2025, the Ring Railways is expected to carry up to 300 million of passengers annually. Ticketing on the Moscow Central Circle is fully integrated with the Moscow Metro. The same payment cards can be used on both systems and free transfers are possible within 90 minutes since the first entry into the system. The line serves the purpose of a connector between the different radial lines of outer Moscow, much as the Koltsevaya line does in inner Moscow. 130 trains per day circulate around the line, with an interval of 5 to 6 minutes during the rush hours and 10 to 15 minutes at other times. The line's hours of operation are the same as the rest of the metro from 6 o'clock until 1 o'clock. The metro's Bolshaya Koltsevaya line, which is under construction and will also be a circle line, will reach further to the south. All trains stop on all stations. The line is operated by 61 Siemens ES2G Lastichka trains. Top speed is 110 km per hour and average is 37 km per hour. The Moscow Monorail is a 4.7 km long monorail line. It runs from the Timyarzaevskaya via Fonksizinskaya and VDNH metro stations to Sergeya Eisensteina Street. The monorail line currently has 6 stations. On 20th of November 2004, the monorail opened in excursion mode. On 10th of January 2008, the monorail's operation mode was changed to transportation mode with more frequent train service. The Moscow Metro operates the monorail, which in 2016 officially became the Line 13 of the network. The monorail carried 37,871 of passengers in the first week of transportation mode, with daily use was of 5,700 to 6,200 of passengers in weekdays and 7,000 of passengers on weekends. Daily monorail usage for 2008 averaged 9,600 of passengers per day. Moscow Metro boss Dmitry Pegov stated in December 2016, however, that the monorail would operate essentially in excursion mode from 2017. Intervals between trains would increase to 15 minutes in peak hours and to 20 to 25 minutes at other times. The average travel time between first and last stations is 17 minutes. Operating speed is 60 km per hour. The Belarusian Solovsky diameter, the first diameter, is the first line of the Moscow Central diameters launched from November 21, 2019. The route connecting the cities of Odintsovo and Lobnya near Moscow. Thus, WDC-1 connects the center of Moscow with areas in the north of Moscow and with areas in the west of the city. The route involves 8 interchange stops by metro, MCC and radial directions of the railway. On the diagrams and pointers is indicated by the code D1. The line is initially served with 10 7-count trains, e.g. 2 TV in Volga, of modification 2, which since December 2, 2019 run in dual mode 6 plus 5 cars. The Kursk-Riga diameter, the second diameter. The second line of the Moscow Central diameters launched on November 21, 2019. The route connecting the Nakhabino village near Moscow in the urban district of Krasnogorsk with the city of Podolsk connects the Riga and Kursk directions on the Moscow Railway, has a length of 80 km with 34 stations and is covered in 2 hours. Thus, WDC-2 connects the center of Moscow with areas in the northwest of Moscow and with areas in the south and southeast of the city. The route involves 11 stopping points with a transfer to the metro, the MCC and other railway directions. On the diagrams and pointers indicated by the code D2. There are 100 pairs of IDC electric trains running daily with a clock interval of 12 minutes. As of the beginning of 2020, this line is served with 22 6-car I-Volga trains of modification 1 operating in the dual mode of 6 plus 5 wagons, as well as the usual electric trains EP2D and 3 10-car ES2G Lastichka.